Okay. So, standing wave is also a very important section, and today, like we have a double class, so that's why we can easily complete that topic quickly because in single it takes time to complete it. So, for stationary or standing waves, stationary or standing waves. So, you can write any statement like stationary or standing, both makes the same sense. So, there is no difference between a standing or a stationary term, both are same. And as we already discussed, we can combine we can combine two waves or more than two waves at a single point of same frequency, like they are coherent, they are in same phase difference, we can say. So now, if we talk about stationary waves, so in stationary waves, what happens? In short, if we consider two waves again, and they have same frequency, but they are traveling in opposite direction, opposite direction. So definitely they starts to interfere. But when this starts to interfere, so this time we will not get the same type of wave we discussed in the previous topics. This time we will get standing or stationary waves. And first of all, if we want to differentiate between the normal type of waves that we already discussed and this type of wave that we are going to discuss about stationary or standing, so difference between them is very simple. The previous types of waves we were talking about are called progressive, and this new type of wave, as we already discussed, is stationary or standing. So basically, by name, by word progressive, we can identify that it is going to progress, like it is progressing in a specific direction or like it is moving forward. So that's why we are using term progressive. And if you compare the water waves, like the sea water waves, with the example of the guitar string. So the guitar string also produces waves and seawater are also producing waves. But the main difference between them is that there is no limitation for sea waves, right? They can move in any direction at any time with any amplitude, etc. But there are some limitations for the string of the guitar. The first restriction is like that string is fixed between 2 points, right? So that guitar string only oscillate or vibrate between those two fixed points. Okay, but there is no such restriction for the water waves, right? So this is the common difference between progressive and stationary wave. And in simple words, we can say progressive waves are, these are traveling waveform, and for stationary, these are standing waveform. And secondly,
So stationary,
standing.
uh, so stationary waves are longitudinal waves.
Basically, we are not comparing with longitudinal and transverse right now. Basically, these are also depending upon the scenario, right? So, for example, if you are taking sound waves, so we can also generate sound stationary wave with the help of sound waves. Okay, and we know sound waves are longitudinal. Okay, so right now we are not comparing in the category of sound or transverse wave. We are only working on the idea that how to uh, check stationary waves, what are the factors, what are the components related to the stationary wave, because we already studied about longitudinal, transverse, progressive. their experiments. So we know many things about progressive waves, but we don't know anything about a stationary wave, right? So it depends upon the scenario. Maybe stationary waves can be transverse, or maybe it can be longitudinal. Okay. For example, uh, if you limit radio signals between two specific poles, so that becomes stationary, right? Because that radio signals are not moving away from those two specific points. But in general, in our surrounding, we are using Wi-Fi, we are using phone signals, so that is spreading out in all directions. So there is no restriction, no limitation. But for example, if you limit those signals in some specific region, or like between two specific poles or 2 points, etc., so then it becomes standing or stationary, right? Because you know that in this specific region, this wave is only like moving back and forth. So that becomes standing. Okay. So it is not compulsory that all longitudinals are stationary, or it is not compulsory all transfers are in stationary. It depends. Okay. The next difference is in progressive waves, just like we discussed the example of the water waves. So water waves are like moving or transferring energy from one point to another point. So there is net energy transfer in it, net transfer of energy. And because of restriction again, so stationary waves are not able to transfer net amount of energy, because there must be some amount of waste energy over there. We can say no net energy transfer. The third difference between them is about their components. For example, in progressive waves, we discuss about compression, rarefaction, crust, trough, all these components. So we have crust, trough, compression, rarefaction. But in stationary waves, the main focus is completely different. We are actually focusing on the concept of nodes and anti-nodes. Nodes are like the fixed point, no vibration. And if we talk about anti-nodes, anti-nodes means maximum vibration. We can keep that example of a string of the guitar in our mind. So we know that when we are considering those two fixed points, so those two fixed points are nodes, and the middle region of that string is anti-node, because we are getting maximum vibration, maximum displacement, maximum vibration. Okay, one more thing, we can differentiate progressive and stationary in another form, that is about the points on the wave. So in progressive waves, every point, because all points are free to oscillate, like they are independently oscillating from maximum amplitude to the minimum amplitude. So every point has same amplitude. But in stationary, again, because of limitation, because of fixed point, because of like variation, we can say points have different amplitude. Because in the previous point, we already mentioned about nodes and antinodes. So nodes and antinodes is the clear description of this next point. Okay. Because in some region we got nodes and in some regions we got antinodes, right? And another thing that we can discuss, the concept of the phase. In progressive waves, all points have different phase angles because they are free to vibrate or oscillate. So that's why they have different phase angles. But in stationary, we have some specific positions. So either they have phase difference 0 or either they have phase difference 180 degrees. For example, if you consider phase between nodes, so a phase between nodes means they are in phase equals to 0. But if waves are like in anti-node position, they are out of phase. Out of phase means opposite to each other, making up angle of 180 degrees. So, any question, any confusion till now in the differences between progressive and stationary? Okay. So these are the basic differences because in some questions, maybe they ask about theoretical knowledge. So it will help you to differentiate easily with the help of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points we have. So we can easily compare with 5 points. Secondly, if we talk about their wavelengths, frequency, and a single or means like a normal length, the total length covered by the waves in the stationary waves. So how to count them, how to mark node, anti-node in the stationary waves. So next concept is about their wavelengths and frequencies. Wavelength of a stationary wave. Okay. First of all, just like we were talking about the concept of the string of the guitar, right? So a string of the guitar is only a single string. And on in the start of this topic, we mentioned that there are two waves, right? So how we are going to make those two waves and how these two waves are going to interfere with each other and we will get these stationary waves. So for example, it is very simple to understand. Let's suppose if we consider the water waves in the swimming pool and in swimming pool, or you can take example of ripple tank that we studied in IGCSE. So in ripple tank, we observe there is a paddle that continuously strikes on the water surface to generate constant waveforms in the water. So when we are getting constant waveforms in the water, so that waveforms are actually traveling in forward direction. And definitely when they are going to strike any specific surface, so they reflect back. So for example, if we have that same example again, so let's suppose water waves are traveling in forward direction like this. So definitely, when water waves are going to strike the wall of the swimming pool on the other side, so they reflect back from it. Okay. So when they reflect back, So they are going to move in opposite direction like this. And we are making dotted line because we know only one wave is original, and the dotted line represents the reflected wave. So that is the reflection of it. Okay, because on paper we are not able to draw live diagram. Okay, because if we observe the live diagram, so then we are able to understand this idea easily. But on paper we can draw like this one dotted line. That means the reflection of the original wave, right? Any confusion in this? So these blue waves are moving in forward direction. And just like we mentioned, two waves in opposite direction. So continuously, because of the water, because of that paddle in this ripple tank, we are using paddle over here, let's suppose. So because of this paddle, waves are traveling in forward direction. But on the other side, we have wall of the swimming pool. So from that wall, continuously waves are reflecting back. So now one wave is moving in forward direction and reflected waves are moving in opposite direction. So definitely when the forward moving waves collides with or like interfere with the reflected wave in opposite direction, yes, so it works like two waves of same frequency because it is generated from the same source, water, and there is a continuous paddle vibration in the water. So continuously uniform waves are generating in forward direction, and because of reflection they are moving in opposite direction. So when they combine with each other, so they starts to generate stationary waves like this. And same happens in the guitar. When you plug the wire of the guitar, so what happens? It starts to generate waves and energy is going to transfer between 2 points. So one wave is traveling in forward direction from one point to another, and then the previous wave is reflecting back from point 2 towards point 1. So basically, it is the reflection of the previous wave. Let's suppose like wave 1 is moving in forward direction, and now wave 2 is again now wave 2 is going to move towards the wall of that pool on the other side. And the first wave that already reaches the wall, now that wave is going to reflect back. Okay, and we got reflected wave and the new coming original wave. So when they combine with each other, so they make interference, and because of that interference in opposite direction, we got stationary waves. Okay, because they try to cancel out, maybe cancel out each other, or maybe like merge with each other to make a giant wave, right? So there are two possibilities, either constructive interference or either destructive. Okay, so both possibilities are there. So this is the idea of stationary or standing waves, that how stationary or standing waves can be generated with the help of same frequency. So in this, we are actually using only one source, and with that one source, we are making two waves with the help of reflection. And just like in Young double slit experiment, we use single light. So we use single light and we then split into two different slits. So it will work like a same frequency. It works like a coherent wave, and we got clear interference over there. In the same way, we are using same water. So we have only one type of liquid, one water medium over here, and same water is reflecting from the wall, and same water is generating from the paddle side. So both are going to meet at a point and they are going to form standing or stationary waves. Simple. So any question in this? Okay. So this is the basic idea, because sometimes we got confused that from where this second wave is coming from, right? So there is no other source that is actually reflected. So that's why we used to call reflection. Okay. Now counting of nodes, antinodes, wavelength, etc. So for example, if we consider a wave like this, and again reflection of it. So in this wave, we have some common points like in the center, this one, like these are mean positions. So these points are actually called nodes. So these all points are called nodes. And in the center, like in the middle of two nodes, we have antinodes. Right? So in this way, we can count nodes and antinodes, just like we mentioned in the difference. So the point where we are actually working on the mean position, so that point is called node, where we have minimum displacement, minimum amplitude or zero amplitude. So that point is called node. And the point where we have maximum amplitude, maximum vibration or maximum oscillation, so that point is called antinode. Yes. So where you got amplitude in the diagram, so that point is actually called antinode. But when there is no amplitude, so that is called node. So this is node and it shows 0, or we can say no vibration. And for A, it represents antinode. So it shows maximum vibration or amplitude. So this is the scenario. For example, uh, this the whole length of the wave is the whole length of the wave is given 50 centimeter. So let's suppose this whole length is equals to 50 centimeter. Now the main question is how to identify the wavelength from this diagram. So let's suppose from this diagram, if you count node to node length. So if you count node to node length, so what is the length from one node to another node, like consecutive? So how much wavelength is covered between two nodes? In simple words, if you count two consecutive nodes, so what is the total length between two consecutive nodes? In the diagram, you can identify it is equals to half wavelength, right? Because we only cover, yes, half lambda. So we only cover like one crust or one trough. So that gives you half wavelength. And same happens for antinode. Antinode gives you also the half wavelength. But let's suppose if you count node to antinode, so what will be the value for this? 1/2. Okay. So basically, if you consider a node and antinode, So in the diagram, just to make it simple, if we consider this point and this point, so from the first node to this anti-node, so this is only quarter wavelength, right? Because it is not half. We are only working, like we are only writing for consecutive values. So it will make easy for you to count any point in the stationary or standing wave. Okay. So from one node to anti-node, like consecutive. So it will be equals to 0.25 lambda, right? Like 1 by 4, right? Any confusion? Right. So in this way, you can easily count any possible position from the standing wave. So it will be very easy because we have to count nodes or anti-nodes. So it is now very simple to count the values with the help of nodes and anti-nodes. And according to the scenario, in this whole length, let's count the number of waves given. So in this 50 centimeter length, we have 1, 2, 3. So there are three waves. So in this specific diagram, especially for this diagram, it is not compulsory for all. It depends upon the diagram given. So for this given diagram, there are total three wavelength covered, in total 50 centimeter, right? It means 50 divided by 3. So it is equals to, so basically we can easily count the wavelength, exact wavelength, with the help of this calculation, simple calculation. First, we just count the total number of waves given in the diagram and then measure or compare with the total length given, and then just compare or just write down the number of waves given in the total length of the waves, and we can find out wavelength with the help of simple calculation, right? Any confusion in this? This part is also easy. Okay, basically there is no formula. I just used to count the total number of waves in simple words. It represents total number, total number of waves. So basically in the diagram, you can count by yourself also. For example, I will mark in the diagram for simplicity. This is one wave, this is second wave, and this is third wave, right? So there are total three waves completed in the given length. Okay. So total number of waves are three, so 3 lambda, and the total length mentioned in the diagram is 50 centimeter. So that's why 3 lambda is equals to 50 centimeter. And now we can shift 3 on the other side. So lambda is equals to 16.67. Simple. So according to this specific diagram, we can say that wavelength is specific equals to 16.67. But if value is different in any other question, so definitely you will get different result over there, right? Right. So it depends upon the diagram, it depends upon the value, it depends upon the number given. So you don't need to learn any specific value, any specific diagram, any specific number. You just need to count by yourself according to the basic information that we discussed till now. Further, we can say there are two types of variation we can make in this whole scenario of the standing waves. So let's see what are the possibilities. So right now, we are only working with the example with two fixed ends, both and fixed. So right now we are working, it is very clear that both ends are fixed, okay? Just like the example of the guitar we discussed. But in this scenario, there are two different possibilities also. The first possibility is, for example, if we change length, changing length. So we have one possibility. Let's suppose if we change length, like in the diagram, we have 50 centimeter. So for example, if we want to increase the length, we will increase like 60, 70, 80, or we can also decrease like 40, 30, etc. So then what happens, right? So for example, we have first diagram. So let's suppose this is not, this is not, this is antinode. So let's suppose in this diagram, we are using length of 10 centimeter. For example, it is equals to 10 centimeter. So in this 10 centimeter, what do you think? How much wavelength is covered in this given 10 centimeter? Full, half, quarter, three fourth. So basically, in this diagram, in this given length of 10 centimeter, we can say that only half wavelength is covered because one is the original wave and second is the reflection of it. Okay. So we can mention length is equals to 10 centimeter, half wavelength, right? So let's suppose this length becomes our L naught. Okay. So this is our fundamental length because we are starting from this initial length and this is the minimum possibility for two fixed ends because this is the minimum scenario for the stationary waves with both ends fixed, right? Because we have minimum 2 points to make standing waves. We required minimum 2 points, right? To make a standing wave. Otherwise, it will a different scenario. Okay. Now, for example, if we increase the length, if we double the length, so if we double the length, not, not, and not. So in this length, we got two antinodes like this. Okay. And length is now doubled. So when we double the length, we got one complete wavelength. So this length is actually two times the original length that we used in the first diagram, right? And in the same way, if you further increase the length like 30, 40, 50, 60, etc., so your wavelength starts to increase by factor half, because you can see initially wavelength is zero point 0.5. Now it is 1. So wavelength increased by the factor of zero point 0.5, right? And length is going to be increased like 1, 2, 3, etc. like this. So in simple words, we can say every next stationary wave, so every next stationary wave is half wavelength extra. So as compared to the previous condition, in the next scenario, in the new length, in the next length, we are getting zero point 0.5 lambda greater as compared to the previous scenario. Okay. So this is one condition for changing length. So if you are changing length, so you will get results like this. And it is very simple, right? There is nothing typical in this. We are not finding out any angle. We are not finding out any other typical scenario in this calculation of the standing waves. Okay. Now if we consider the second factor, changing frequency. So now we are going to consider a fixed length, right? So length is not going to change again and again. Only we are going to change frequency, right? So let's suppose we are going to start from 50 centimeter, let's suppose. Again, we are starting from the fundamental. This is not, this is not, okay? And in the middle, we have antinode. And right now, we are using length of 50 centimeter. So length remains same throughout the experiment because now we are working with changing frequency. So this is called first harmonic. First or fundamental harmonic. Again, we are getting half wavelength. So in this given diagram, we are getting only half wavelength. So to make it full, what we need to do? We need to double the length. So zero point 0.5 divides on the other side, 100 centimeter. Okay. So basically this 100 centimeter is right now the basic wavelength in our diagram, because this is the minimum scenario we can focus, because there are two fixed points. We are not increasing the fixed points. So for minimum condition of the stationary wave, we require two fixed points. Just like the previous example we discussed for changing length. And further, if we talk about frequency, so this frequency is actually called, or the frequency in this scenario is the basic frequency. Okay. Now in the same length, if we increase the number of waves, so it means we are increasing the frequency like this. Nod, 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 right? Anti-nod. So basically, now we are getting three nodes and two anti-nodes, but this time we are using the same length, but frequency increases. Length equals to 50 centimeter. And this time, in this length, we are getting one complete wavelength. So this time, wavelength is equals to 50 centimeter. So it means that wavelength decreases as compared to the first harmonic, because this is called second harmonic. So this is called second harmonic, and the second harmonic we can say this wavelength is actually the half of the fundamental, because fundamental is 100, original one is 100, and now this is half of the original one. And frequency doubles, because initially we have only half wave, but right now we have full wave. So it means frequency is doubled, two times f naught. So any confusion, any question till now in this scenario? Okay. So in the same way, I'm not making too many loops in this, because now we just need to increase loop for like three loops, four loops, five loops, etc. So in journal, we can say for the length, if you consider n number of length, so you need to multiply by L naught, the basic value, like L, 2L, 3L, 4L, etc. And if we consider the frequency, so if you want to find out any n frequency, like for example, there are eight loops, and they are saying you need to write the direct formula for eight loops. So we can simply say that you just need to multiply the number of loops by fundamental frequency, right? Like first harmonic, frequency of the first harmonic. And if they ask about wavelength, so from this diagram, we are observing that wavelength is decreasing. And how much wavelength decrease? You need to divide by the number of loops. Okay, so basically this is the scenario related to the stationary or the standing waves, related to the length, related to the frequency, related to the wavelength, right? Any question, any confusion in this? Okay, So now let's suppose if we consider some questions. Okay, if we consider a question related to the waves, because we added up a new concept, and this concept is a new concept also, but we also need to revise the previous concept by practicing the questions. So now let's continue with the question. So with the help of the question, we are able to identify and apply the concepts that we studied till now in the wave section. So this is a good question to practice all the scenarios. This is not a specific related to any particular topic. It is like depending upon the mixed concepts related to the waves. So for example, in this question, we have a horizontal string, and that is stretched between two fixed points A and B, right? So now you can see this is a fixed wave between 2 points. And then we have a vibrator that is used to oscillate the string and produce an observable stationary wave. So it gives you a stationary wave. At one instant, the moving string is straight. So just like we discussed, we are not able to draw moving diagram on the paper. So this is like one screenshot of that movement of the string in a straight line that is given in figure 5.1. So the dots in the diagram represents the position of the knots, and point P on the string is moving downwards. So point P is moving downward. Further, the wave on the string has a speed. So speed is given and time period is also given. Okay. So this is the whole scenario given in the question. Now the first part is explain how the stationary wave is formed on the string. And this is for 2 marks. This is a descriptive part. You don't need to mention any value, any calculation. You just need to explain how the stationary wave is formed on the string. So, as we already discussed, according to the stationary waves, one wave is like moving in forward direction and other one is reflecting back from the other point, and they uh, are going to meet each other at a point. So according to this scenario, we can say that the vibrator given in the question produces progressive on the string. So initially, a vibrator produces a progressive wave on the string, which reflects from the fixed end to produce another progressive wave, another progressive wave. Both waves have same speed and amplitude. And definitely their resultant wave gives you a stationary wave. So their resultant wave is a stationary wave. So it gives you the idea of the definition of the stationary wave, like how to write or how to define the definition for the stationary wave. Okay. Now let's consider next part of the question. Okay, so in next part of the question on figure 5.1, sketch a line to show a possible position of a string a quarter of a cycle later than the position shown in the diagram. So now you need to just sketch a line to show a possible position of the string a quarter of a cycle later than the position shown in the diagram. So you can see in the diagram the position of the string is still like a horizontal line, simple. So in the diagram you can see it is mentioned in the question also. At one instant the moving string is straight. And they also mention in the question point P on the string is moving downward. The point P is moving in downward direction. And according to this diagram, this string is in a straight position right now. And in B part of the question, they are saying you need to sketch a line to show a possible position of the string a quarter of a cycle later than the position shown in the diagram. So it is very simple. This string starts to move in downward direction because point P is moving in downward direction. So definitely the new position of the string will be like this, right? So this will be the new position of the wave. So we just need to sketch a line. So this red line is actually the line that we have to mark for the answer because point P is moving downward. So that's why the new pattern of the wave will be like this. Okay. Any question, any confusion in this part? A quarter of the cycle means if you consider whole wave, let's suppose this is one wave. So let's suppose this is one wave, right? They are saying quarter. Quarter means this point. This is half, right? And this is 3/4. Okay. So they are asking about you need to draw a line and that line must be a quarter of a cycle. Quarter of a cycle means you need to mark line at this specific point, right? Because if they ask you about like third, fourth, so you need to draw line at this point. Okay. So this is the question actually. They are asking about the quarter point. So quarter point is over here. So that's why you need to draw line at this specific point. Okay. And now in C part, determine the horizontal distance from point A to point B. Horizontal distance from point A to point B. So basically in C part, you need to determine the horizontal distance from point A to point B. So A is in the start of the diagram and B at the end. So B at the end of the diagram. So from point A to B, we need to find out the horizontal distance. They are not asking about any wavelength. They are not asking about any frequency, etc. They are only asking about the horizontal distance from A to B. So any idea how to find out the horizontal distance?
Um, there is time period, so we can find the frequency from it, and then we can use V is equal to F lambda to find the distance, right?
Okay, that's another choice because we have a time period given. So with the help of time period, definitely we can find out frequency 1 over T. Right. So according to this scenario, we got the value V is equals to F lambda. Lambda is equals to V over F. Speed is also given 35 meter per second. And frequency is equals to 1 divided by 0.04. So in this, we got the value of the wavelength and it is equals to 35 equals to 1.4. So this is the length of one wave, right? Wavelength means the length of one wave that is equals to 1.4. And in the whole diagram from A to B, we got one, two, 2.5 wave. So in the total distance from A to B, we got total 2.5 waves. So it means that the total horizontal distance 1.5, 1.4 multiplied by 0.5 waves. So that will be equals to 3.5. So total distance covered by the wave is equals to 3.5. And in D part of the question, a particle on the string has zero displacement at time t is equals to 0. So from time t is equals to 0 to time t is equals to 0.06 seconds, the particle moved through a total distance of 72 millimeter. So calculate the amplitude of oscillation of the particle. So basically for amplitude, there is no formula, there is no specific equation to find out the exact amplitude. Okay, so basically we don't need to apply any specific formula. There is no specific equation for this. So we need to find out the amplitude with the help of the concept of the waves given in the question. So they are saying from time t is equals to 0 to time t is equals to 0.06 seconds, particle moves through a total distance of 72 millimeter. So calculate the amplitude of oscillation of the particle. So how to calculate the amplitude? So let's suppose if we make both papers in front of each other, now we can relate easily what is given in the original question and what we are actually finding out in this question. So any idea from the previous parts of the question, from the diagram in the question, what we need to do in the last part of this question? Okay, basically, the last part is slightly different and slightly typical as compared to the other because it is not very straightforward because we don't have any formula related to the amplitude. So, for example, if you consider the time given in the question, the time given is 0.06 seconds. So, for example, if we consider the time, so this time is equals to 0.06. And according to the question or according to the value given in the start, the time for or time to complete one wave is 0.04 seconds. So in 0.04 seconds, we got one complete wave. So how many waves we will get in 0.06 seconds? So if you want to identify the exact value or exact number of the waves in 0.06 seconds, so what will be the number of the waves? So 0.06 divided by zero 0.04, it is equals to 1.5. We are getting answer 1.5 waves. So there are total 1.5 waves covered in this time duration. So it means we need to draw 1.5 waves, let's suppose. For example, from the mean position, if we draw 1.5 waves and try to identify the amplitude. So let's suppose this is the mean position, and in this mean position, this is 1.5 wave, right? And the question is calculate the amplitude of oscillation of a particle. And it is also mentioned particle moves through a total distance of 72 millimeter. And they are saying about particle. And we know that in waves, energy transfers in forward direction. Particle oscillates in vertical upward and vertical downward direction. Okay. So basically, if we consider vertical direction or the amplitude, so it can be like this, because particles can only vibrate vertical upward or vertical downward. Okay. So we need to count the amplitude. So initially, when particle is going to vibrate in upward direction, so it will be like this. It starts from mean position. It reaches the maximum height, maximum amplitude, and then from that maximum amplitude, it comes back to the mean position in downward direction like this. Okay. Then from this mean position, it again moves in downward direction like this. And then from maximum to again mean position, it moves in upward direction. Okay. And the same happens in the last phase. Okay. So basically, there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are total 6 oscillations. There are total 6 oscillation of the particle to complete 1.5 wave. So this is 1.5 wave. So according to the given value in the question, that is equals to 72 millimeter. 72 millimeter divided by 6, it is equals to 12. So amplitude will be equals to 12 millimeter. So this is the answer of this question, because they are asking about the particle. So particle vibrates only in vertical direction, right? Upward, downward. It not moves in the forward direction. So that's why we consider the vibration or the oscillation in vertical direction only, not forward direction. So to reach the maximum height, first particle vibrates in vertical upward direction, then comes back to the mean position, then it moves in downward negative direction, then comes back to the mean position and again repeat the half wave. So in this whole scenario, there are total 6 amplitudes cover up. So in 72 millimeter, there are 6 amplitudes. So that's why the length of one amplitude is equals to 12 millimeter. Okay. So basically, this is a different type of question as compared to the other questions, because there is no formula, there is no direct link to solve this type of question. And if we find some more question from the waves, okay. We have another question. For a progressive wave on a stretched string, state what is meant by amplitude. So amplitude, the definition of amplitude is very simple. We just need to write down the definition: maximum displacement from mean position. Okay, the next part is light from a laser has a wavelength of 690 nanometer in a vacuum. So light from a laser has a wavelength of 690 nanometer in a vacuum. Calculate the period of the light wave. So to find out the time period, we know it is equals to inverse of the frequency. So if we use formula V is equals to F lambda or V is equals to 1 over T into lambda or T is equals to lambda over V. We know that they are talking about light from laser. So that also moves with the speed of light. So we can use the constant value of the speed of light, 690. Nano means power 9 divided by 2300 seconds. Okay. But if we divide the value 690 exponent minus 9 divided by 3 exponent 8, that is equals to 2.3 exponent minus 15. So this is the right answer. Okay. So you can again check the calculation. This is the final answer for the time period. And in the C part, yes. Okay. Now two source interference experiment uses the arrangement shown in figure 5.1. So light from a laser is incidentally normally on a double slit and a screen is parallel to the double slit. Interference fringes are seen on the screen at distance d from the double slit, and the separation of the centers of the slits is a, and the light has a wavelength lambda, and the separation x is given. The variation with d of x is shown. The gradient of the graph is g. Determine an expression in terms of g and lambda for the separation a of the slits. So in this part of the question, we need to determine an expression in terms of g and lambda for the separation a of the slit. So generally, the formula of the Young double slit is equals to ax over d. And according to the graphical representation, d is given on x-axis and the value of x is given on y-axis. X represents the fringe separation. So fringe separation and distance from slit to screen. And they are talking about the gradient. Gradient means delta y over delta x. So it means x over d. So x over d in this formula is equals to the value of g. So this is the final relation. A is equals to lambda over g. Simple, right? The experiment is repeated with slits of separation 2a. So now slit separation is 2a. The wavelength of the light is unchanged. On figure 5.2, sketch a graph to show the results of this experiment. So slit separation is 2 times a. So according to the formula, you can see that if you increase the value of a, like if it will be the double. So now you need to sketch a graph to show the results of this experiment. And this is the equation or the expression that we derived. So basically, if the value of a is increasing, so definitely gradient is decreasing, right? So now it is very simple. If your value of a is double, so value of a double means that the gradient is decreasing. Wavelength is same. Wavelength is not changing according to the given question. So what we need to do, we need to decrease it as compared to the original value given. We will start from the origin and we need to make it half line, because if we decrease gradient by half, so the value of a increases by 2 times. Okay. So the final line or the final representation of the graph will be starting from the 0 like this. Okay. Okay. This is one box lower. This is the half like this. Okay. So this is the final graphical representation. Because we already derive expression, and with the help of this expression, we can relate that gradient is inversely proportional to the value of a. And this is the answer for the last part. Okay. 1 mark for making a straight line. Second mark is to decrease the amplitude by half in the graph. And further, if we consider more questions, okay, we solved the latest one. Okay. These are from 2022. And for example, if we consider questions from 2023, questions. Okay, this question is related to CRO also. So let's solve this question and it will also help you to understand the idea how to count the readings from the CRO. Okay, this is very simple. So question is, yes, question number 4. So in question number 4, again, we have a progressive wave. What is meant by frequency? So we need to write down the definition, number of waves passing through a point in a unit time. So we just need to copy paste the definition. In B part, a loudspeaker, microphone, and CRO are arranged as shown in figure 4.1. The loudspeaker is emitting a sound which is detected by microphone and displayed on the screen. So this is the amplitude that is shown on the screen. And these are the values. 5 boxes equals to 1 centimeter for both vertical and horizontal. And in CRO, one value will be the time base. So the time base is on x-axis and it is set to be zero point 0.5 millisecond per centimeter. Y gain is for y-axis. It is set to 0.2 volt per centimeter. So it means that this value is equals to 2. This value is equals to 4. This is equals to 6. This equals to 8. And in 1 centimeter, as mentioned in the question, 0 0.5 millisecond value is set for 1 centimeter, and on y-axis, it is 0.2 volts. Now let's see the question first. First of all, calculate the frequency of the sound wave. Okay, so first of all, we need to calculate the frequency. Okay, so from this graphical representation, any idea how to find out the frequency? Because we need to find out the value of the time period. If you got the value of the time period, so from the time period, we got the value of frequency very easily, inverse relation. So first of all, we need to find out the value of the time period. So basically, according to this diagram, let's suppose if we compare two consecutive crust or two consecutive trough. So it is very simple. If we start from this point, so this is trough and this is another trough. Okay. So it will give you the value of one wavelength, right? And it covers total 4 centimeter. According to the markings given in the graph, it total covers 4 centimeter. So in calculation, we can say time is equals to 4 centimeter, but it is set to zero point 0.5 millisecond. So in 1 centimeter, we have zero point 0.5 milliseconds, right? So definitely there are 4 centimeters, so we need to multiply by 4 to get the exact value of the time. 4 centimeter multiplied by 0 0.5 millisecond per centimeter. So you can see when you multiply these quantities, so centimeter cancel out each other. We got the value of only time in seconds. It is equals to 2 or minus 3 seconds, right? Simple. And finally, we can calculate frequency 1 over 10 to the power minus 3. So the final answer is equals to 500. In second part, the amplitude of the signal received by the CRO. So we need to find out the amplitude also. So for amplitude, definitely we need to consider the vertical height. So let's see the vertical height. So mean position is already given in the graphical representation. And from mean position, it will be equals to 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there are total 14 boxes in vertical height, like in amplitude. So in simple words, we can say and according to the values given in the graph again, in vertical axis on y-axis we cover 14 boxes. 14 boxes means this is the value given 0.2 volt per centimeter, right? So 0.2 means if we check these five small units, 1, 5. So 5 small units is equals to zero point 0.2. And we need to find out what will be the value after 14 small boxes or small units. Okay. So we need to multiply by zero point 0.2. Multiply by zero point 0.2 centimeter. It will be equals to 14 into zero point 0.2, 2.8. It is equals to 2.8 centimeter. Now for amplitude, volts per centimeter, it is equals to 0.56. Right? Any confusion in this? Okay. Uh, Now the next part is it is about intensity. So the intensity of the sound in B part is reduced to a quarter. So intensity of the sound reduced to its original intensity without a change in frequency. Assume that the amplitude of the signal received by CRO is proportional to the amplitude of the sound wave. So the amplitude of the signal received by CRO is proportional to the amplitude of the sound wave. Sketch the trace that is now seen on the screen of the CRO. So this is for 3 marks and it gives you a clear hint also in the question. For example, what is happening in the whole scenario? They are saying reduce to quarter. It means new intensity is 4 times less than the previous one or the original one, right? And if you remember, we discussed intensity is directly proportional to the square of amplitude. And same for the new intensity. Now, if we shuffle the values, so you will get formula like this. And according to the given condition, new intensity is a quarter of the original. So on the new intensity side, we can say a n square. So definitely I not cancel out each other. So it will be equals to. So according to this calculation, we got very clear idea that new amplitude is equals to the half of the original one, right? And we know that the value of amplitude is equals to 28. Is 2.8 as we already calculated over here. 2.8 centimeter amplitude. 1.74, sorry, 1.4. So now we need to check how many boxes we require to cover this 1.4 centimeter. And as we already discussed, that one small box is equals to zero point 0.2 centimeter, right? So one small box is equals to zero point 0.2 centimeter. So according to this scenario, we need to multiply, or like we can 1.4, 1.4 multiplied by zero point 0.2, it gives you 0.2, it gives you 7 boxes like this. Okay. So it means we need to draw amplitude, or now we need to make new amplitude till 7 boxes in the diagram. 5, 6, 7, like this, like this. Okay. So we are going to make new wave. So in this way, the amplitude decreases, right? Okay. So basically, we got amplitude of new wave like it. That is the half of the original one. Okay. And in D part of the question, a metal sheet is now placed in front of a loudspeaker. A stationary wave is formed between the loudspeaker and the metal sheet. State the principle of superposition. So the same thing we need to mention. We have like two or more than two waves meet at a point, and resultant displacement is the sum of individual. So we need to just copy paste the definition from the notes. And in the second part, the initial position of the microphone is such that trace on the CRO has an amplitude minimum. It is now moved a distance of 1.05 meter away from the loudspeaker along the line joining the loudspeaker and the metal sheet. As the microphone moves, it passes through three positions where the trace has an amplitude maximum before ending at a position where the trace has an amplitude minimum. So as microphone moves, it passes through three positions where the trace has an amplitude maximum before ending at a position. So three positions there are we are working on. So we need to find out the wavelength of the sound wave. So according to the given scenario, we have three positions. According to the three positions, we can say initial position of microwave is such that trace on the CRO has an amplitude minimal, moved at a distance of 1.05 away from the loudspeaker. So you can see it is this much distance from the loudspeaker, and now we will get waveforms like this. So in this way, we are going to get, and in this diagram, this one value is equals to half wavelength lambda by 2. So we have three half wavelengths. So to find out the wavelength, we can say total distance covered is equals to 3 lambda by 2. It means 1.5. Total distance covered is 1.05. So lambda is equals to 0.7. So this is the wavelength of this question, right?